Okay, so this is question 11 to 15. I'd actually started doing it and I got interrupted. So what we have here, again, just starting from the beginning, are two scenarios. You've read the question, of course. You're given the profit before tax and you're given the figures. So your job is always to find whether or not these things are material in the first place. So this is 1/7, a million. That's more than the threshold, as you know, is 5 to 10%. So that's about what? Um, 14%, probably something along those lines. At least we know it's material. There's no question about that. So just work that out. 50,000 over 7 is less. So that's about 0.7%, something along those lines. So yeah, and then just jump into the question. You know, the first scenario is to do with this case, which the lawyers have evidence for that it is possible. So because they tell you it is possible, we know it's a contingent liability. So it is material, but what we must then do is disclose, because that's what we do with contingent liabilities. We don't recognize provision, we just disclose. And that's important to do that. I've always highlighted that this is the extent of the financial reporting you'd be expected to know, this kind of understanding what's happening with provisions and contingent liabilities. So which two should be performed with regards to the subsequent events? So with those solicitors, we want to know what's new. Is it still possible? Is there anything else going on? And also, we want to review the post-year end to see whether or not you've received the payments. It's not really our role to go and start getting in touch with clients to know whether they can pay the money, or the confirmation letter is useless for valuation. That just confirms that the debt is owed. But we're interested in the valuation, and therefore A and C work best. So therefore, if they don't disclose, well, here we have an isolated event. We have a failure to disclose, which is material misstatement. So we have a qualified opinion due to material misstatement. So it's, if you like, material misstatement, and then moving along the lines of severity. And it's material, but it's not perverse, right? So it's a qualified opinion. It's a single event. And you have to look at it that way, is isolated events when you're analyzing these. Right, okay, great stuff. So which of the following is true in respect of receivables? Here we are. So the client should write off. Yes, the client should write this off. I mean, there is a very high uncertainty as to whether or not you recover this. So you need to write this off. That's really the point here. This needs to be written off. Anyway, in a management letter, we would put that through, write it off. You're not going to get this. And I know in accounting, I think after 6 months, I think in general accounting, you are allowed to write it off. But anyway, we would recommend that because the client is facing financial difficulties. And here, with regards to that, fair enough, yes, they should write it off, but it's not material. So because it's not material, hey, on modified opinion, with no further disclosure. So there's no need to disclose. It's just immaterial entirely, if you like. It's not heavy enough to start calling it an emphasis of that paragraph, anything along those lines. And even to do this, there would have been disclosure. But this is not material in the first place. So it's not this, just in case you were kind of thinking this was something important. So it's just A, right? And that's, if you like, yeah, question 11 to 15. This one was rather brief and not bad, actually. I thought this was quite a nice set of questions.